Christmas Day. Let's talk about the games in the NBA. There are 5 of them. How do we stream them in? Michael Bolton.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy, your daily NBA fantasy podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd, and is that the best price you can do? I'm also the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and you can find me on Blue Sky at joshloyd.bsky.social, on Twitter at redrock_bball, on TikTok at redrock_bball, and on Instagram at Locked On Fantasy Basketball. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Also, check out lockedondaily.com. And at LockedOnDaily.com, you could go ahead and find the best newsletter for your favorite NBA team. So go and do that. Hit the thumbs up on the video as well. And comment if you so choose. If you don't, cool. Keep your thumb to yourself. Christmas Day in the NBA. 5 games on. We know that these games are starting early. So if you are here in Australia, the first game is a 4 a.m. start, which is a midday Eastern start over in the States. Then you've got a 2:30 p.m. start. Then you've got a 5 p.m. start. Then you've got an 8 p.m. start. And then you've got whatever that last one is. No, 10:30 p.m. I think it is on the East Coast. So games throughout the day. They might not be the best games that could possibly be scheduled. We know the NBA has to put the Lakers on and has to put the Knicks on and probably has to put the Warriors on. And they've eschewed the best teams like the Thunder and the Cavs, and the Bucks aren't there for some reason, which is honestly stupid. It's very stupid, but that's okay. Should we talk about the way the NBA schedules? I don't know. Probably not. Probably don't need to, but I think having an ability to flex games on would be interesting. Also, yeah, the big market stuff is so frustrating. It's so annoying. Anyway, that is okay. We are here to talk about the games, the 5 of them, what we're looking for, and the value that we can get fantasy-wise across these games. Let's just start off checking out what's on my radar. That first game is the early one. It's in Madison Square Garden. It is probably the best game of the day. Maybe? No, it's probably actually the second. I don't know. It's one of these first 2 games. I think it's probably the best game on paper of the day. Who knows how it plays out? But this is probably the best game on paper of the day. It is the New York Knicks hosting the San Antonio Spurs up at Madison Square Garden. The Knicks are 9-point favorites. So I guess FanDuel doesn't think that it's the best game of the day. What is the lowest spread? It's the Nuggets, 2-point favorites against the Suns. This is actually the largest spread, so I guess I'm way off. I still think it's the best game. Schedule-wise, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday for the Spurs the rest of this week. The Knicks are Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. All of these days are streamable. San Antonio goes into 3 the week after, and the Knicks go to 4. The only current injury reported for either team is Mitchell Robinson. He's out with the ankle problem, and everyone else is ready to go. So what we're watching for in this one, on the Spurs, Steph Castle, he played 13 minutes last game. Now, his numbers were great because he shot 80% and had 40 usage, which of course aren't real. The thing you should be more focused on is the fact that he played only 13 minutes. Now, we're not rostering him in 10 or 12 or 14 team leagues really clearly. Someone said to me in one of my comments, man, you should really be rooting more for Steph Castle because he's the only rookie in this class that's showing any potential. I'm not even sure he's doing that. To be honest, I'm not. I just think this class is actually still quite bad. I still maintain that Alex Sarr probably is going to be the best, but not that good. I still got some faith in Ron Holland and some in Reed Shepherd, and Zach Edey's looked okay, but it's bad. Anyway, Castle just is not a fantasy guy. For the Knicks, we want to watch the burner Jalen Brunson because it's been rocky. It's been consistently rocky. There's been some big moments, but there's been some bad stuff too. I'm always watching to see how he looks with his foot and his ankle, which has been injured multiple times this season. He doesn't miss any time, but they always seem to keep minutes down or his shooting's off. There's just something weird going on with Brunson. In terms of the stream guys, Julian Champagny, he's probably one of the better streams across the entire day. His minutes are going to be variable. Last game we saw him push to 29 when they pushed Barnes down to 20 and they pushed Castle down to 13. Is that what they're going to do? That was a weird game also with Vassell's sort of production slightly down. I think Champagny is fine as a stream guy, but absolutely not a must roster guy. He's fine to roster, but not a must. And then on the Knicks, well, you're tossing up between Achua and McBride. Whichever direction you want to go, I think either of those guys can work in that spot, but they're not particularly high-value guys because of the way that Thomas Thibodeau runs that rotation. The second game, We're talking Minnesota going into Dallas to take on the Mavericks. The Wolves really need this one. Obviously, they had not had a good season, and the Mavericks here are 5-point favourites in this game. Schedule-wise, it's Wednesday, Friday, Sunday for the Wolves into 3 games in Week 11, and the Mavs are Wednesday, Friday, Saturday into 3 games in Week 11. I don't think that Joe Ingles is going to be available dealing with a calf strain, but they're giving us 0 updates on that. Luka Garza was ruled out for the last game, but again, not going to play, so it doesn't matter. Dante Exum's going to be out for Dallas, and Jaden Hardy is officially questionable, but absolutely not likely to get minutes. And the big one there is Luka Doncic. He played in the last game. He's listed probable here, so ready to go. So basically, everyone's available in this game as well. What we want to watch for the Wolves is Rudy Gobert, because he is playing very, very poorly at the moment. We're seeing minutes get decreased. And last game, it was very interesting. We saw Naz Reid play 29 minutes and take the most shots on the entire team as Gobert's production really dipped. I think Gobert is going to be able to bounce back, but the minutes are really bad at the moment, and the production and the play is really bad, so we want to watch that. For the Mavs, last game, Daniel Gafford, who'd been phased out to like 18 minutes, played more than Derek Lively in the last one, didn't miss a single shot, and posted a huge game. Now, it was a blowout. It was against the Blazers. So we'll see what happens in a matchup against Gobert and against Randall and against Reed, whether they go more to Lively, which I think they will, or Gafford can find a way to get back to 22 minutes. Old Dawson himself, Jaden McDaniels, is always going to be sitting on the stream list. He was dreadful in the last game. He can be that, but he's always going to be someone that when the Wolves play, you go, yeah, maybe I'll try him. And that's where he sits. And Najee Marshall is probably the Mavs guy ahead of Spencer Dinwiddie, ahead of Quentin Grimes, because I feel more confident in Marshall's overall minutes than I do with those other two. Those two get bigger bumps when players are out, but the players aren't out, so that doesn't matter as much in this particular scenario. The third game of the day, we go into Boston, the Philadelphia 76ers and the Boston Celtics. There are some interesting injury updates here for this game. The Celtics are 8.5-point favorites. The Sixers only play 2 games this week, Wednesday, Saturday, and then 4 in Week 11, while the Celtics are Wednesday, Friday, Sunday into 4 in Week 11 as well. KJ Martin's dealing with a stress issue in his foot. They said at least 2 weeks. Stress reactions in feet. 2 weeks doesn't sound right, does it? It feels like it should be way longer. We'll see. He had been starting, so that just clears out stuff for guys like Yabusele and for Caleb Martin, and maybe even for the Mayor Ricky Council, although maybe not. It's more going to be Caleb and Yabusele there. Andre Drummond had a toe contusion last game. He's questionable. Joel Embiid got ejected. I don't think there's any problem there. He's going to be available. While Eric Gordon's oral surgery, he's probable for that one. The interesting one was the Celtics. Are they just messing around? I think they are. Jason Tatum was the fake illness, not fake illness, the annoying labeling of illnesses from last game, which was just baffling how they get away with that. But whatever, he is questionable. And then both Derek White and Drew Holiday are questionable. Now, I don't think there is any risk of these players missing. I don't think there's any risk at all. But they labelled them all questionable. What are we watching for? Kelly Oubre has been very, very Kelly Oubre. And if you think that's a good thing, welcome to the show for the first time. He has not been very good. His minutes have been fine, and I still think we're persisting with him in 12-team leagues, but man, he's Kelly Oubre. The assists, the steals, steals he's been okay at. The threes, the shooting percentages, blocks, he doesn't do any of that stuff. Will the absence of KJ Martin help with rebounding? Maybe. But we want to watch it. And then for the Celtics, Drew Holiday finally had a really good game last time out. Now he's questionable. I think he's fine to play, but we watch it. I want to see what he does, and does he go back to that mediocrity, or was that last game where his minutes pushed up and Peyton Pritchard's moved down? Is that more what Missoula's going to do? I don't think so. Stream guys, Caleb Martin gets a little bit of an extra runway now with KJ Martin out. So he's probably the stream guy, while Al Horford is dropped in a lot of spots, absolutely correctly so. But when he is dropped, that means he's streamable on days like this. He could do nothing, but we all know that Al Horford has a very good track record of playing a lot of minutes against Joel Embiid because of his ability to slow down Joel Embiid. One of the best players at slowing down Joel Embiid. The Sixers bloody signed Al Horford for that particular reason, because they didn't love going against him. So just watch for maybe a bit of a bump in some of the production from Horford, mainly through increased minutes due to the matchup situation. We've got more games to come back and talk about. We'll do that. But today's episode is brought to you by the Game Time app. You are here, and it is Christmas. And one of the better things at Christmas is being able to give gifts to people, but also being able to enjoy things together. And togetherness, the holiday season, that's one of the Game Time's big focuses. And that bringing people together with tickets to live events is a great way of doing that. And with the new feature Game Time Picks, you won't waste that time trying to find the best tickets on Game Time. They're going to be there and they're going to be promoted to you through Game Time Picks. It's one of the best features they've got, along with all the other stuff they've got. The views from your seat, we love that. That's an absolute banger. You've also got the event protection, the event cancellation protection clause. You've got the lowest price guarantee where you get 110% credit of the difference of the price when you find that same ticket elsewhere. So many different things that are great over at Game Time. So download the Game Time app and create an account and use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create the account, redeem the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time. Today's episode is also brought to you by Rocket Money. Subscriptions, we all have them. It's the way of the world, isn't it? But sometimes there are things that you sign up for that you forget about, or that you sign up twice using different emails. You've got your real email, your work email, your personal email, your joke email, and you might have signed up multiple times because you couldn't remember a password, whatever. And that's just draining money. Rocket Money is here to go through and find those things and tell you, hey, do you actually need this anymore? Or why have you got 3 subscriptions to insert something here? Well, that's not the website, insertsomethinghere.com, which I'm sure exists. We don't need to go to that. But Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions. It monitors your spending and helps you lower your bills and set financial goals for yourself as well. And that subscription tracker is absolutely fantastic. It's one of the best things that you can do to help keep your finances under control. So cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/lockedon today. That is rocketmoney.com/lockedon. rocketmoney.com/locked on. Okay. Let's go to the next game for Christmas Day. We're talking about, the Los Angeles Lakers and the Golden State Warriors. The Warriors here are favored at home, 4-point favorites. The Lakers are a Wednesday, Saturday team. They play 4 games in Week 11, while the Warriors are a Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, playing 4 games in Week 11 as well. Christian Wood, Jared Vanderbilt-Barr, and Jackson Hayes are all out. Jalen Hood-Schifino has been dealing with a hamstring injury. I'm just going to say questionable to doubtful because it honestly just doesn't matter. D'Angelo Russell hurt his thumb last game, and JJ Redick post-game said he was going to get some scans done on it. We'll see what happens there, so I've put him questionable here. And I'm certain that LeBron James and Anthony Davis will both appear on the injury report with foot, groin, elbow, knee, neck, rib, whatever. Something will be there for both of those players. They'll be questionable, and they will play. So I'll say they're questionable, but it's leaning towards probable that they're just going to play. But they're going to be on the injury report, I'm certain of that. What do we want to watch for? On the Lakers, it is D'Angelo Russell. We saw him get big minutes 2 games ago, then hurt his thumb in the last game and do nothing. It's so hard for me to keep up with D'Angelo Russell. If you want to roster him, do it. I don't care, right? If you want to drop him, also don't care. There's too much uncertainty with his playing time to feel super strong either way. Most of the time, recently, it's just been down, 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 down. And the occasional big riser. Usually, if someone is out, a Reeves or a LeBron or someone like that, we feel more comfortable with Russell. But at the moment, I don't feel super good. 2 games for Dennis Schroeder for the Warriors, 2 stinkers. Is that the thing? Is that something you care about? Is his revenge game against the Lakers something that's important? I'm not really sure there is a revenge, but he used to play for him, so I guess if he plays well, it'll be a revenge game. I'm very interested in watching Dennis Schroeder because my initial analysis was he would not be usable or holdable in 12s on the Warriors. And so far, he hasn't been. That book has not been closed, but we get another data point here. What about the stream guys? Maxi Christie, really good game last time out. I think some of that is due to D'Angelo Russell and the thumb problem, but also he's just finally got stuff to click. I don't think Christie is in any danger of losing the starting spot any point soon, but starting versus playing 33 minutes and good usage is very different to starting and playing 27 minutes with 4 points. So we're not looking at him as a 12-team guy or anything like that, but we're getting a little bit more interested in Max. And for the Warriors, well, it just depends, like if Hield or Schroeder or Kuminga or Pajemski or Jackson Davis are available, and they're not, according to the metric that I use, then you use those players. But if not, Kevon Looney, maybe? Good matchup against Anthony Davis, or better matchup, maybe they lean into him a little bit more. But yeah, you're not getting super excited about that one, I'm going to be pretty confident in saying. The last game is a game we just saw on Monday. It's the Nuggets and the Suns, and the Nuggets absolutely cooked them. Now, usually when a team plays the same team 2 games in a row, there's often a split. But Phoenix is dealing with injuries, and I'm not sure their team's going to be good enough to actually get the W here over the Denver Nuggets. In terms of the spread, the Nuggets are on the road, and they are 2-point favorites, and I believe that is the only team that is favorite that is on the road correct. They are the only road favorite on Christmas Day. Schedule-wise, they're both a Wednesday, Friday, Saturday teams. Denver plays 4 in Week 11 and Phoenix plays 2. Flacco Chanchar is going to be out. Jamal Murray, the headmaster, missed the game on Monday. I fully expect that he's available on Wednesday. And then I don't believe that Devin Booker or Grayson Allen will play. Allen with a concussion, Booker with a groin strain. They both did not practice today, so I just don't think they're going to be available, so I'll mark them out. Royce O'Neal hurt his groin in the last one. He did stay in, though, but I'll put him with a preemptive questionable tag here. And then the big one, of course, Bol Bol, revenge game time. He missed the last one, so maybe he can make the difference here. We'll see whether he's available. On the Nuggets, we want to watch Christian Brown because it has not been very good of late. And you know what I think about Christian Brown? He really got by on elevated steal and block rates and insane percentages. But over time, if that stuff doesn't hold, then you're dealing with a minutes guy who gets no usage, and what do we get out of it? At the moment, nothing is the answer. So I want to keep watching his role, his usage, and is he at risk of minutes drop because of the way they're playing Westbrook? For Phoenix, Tyus Jones' last couple have also been really bad. Are they going to do that more? Are we going to see more Monty Morris and Josh Okogie and these sort of spuds off the bench? Or is Jones going to push back up over 30? In terms of stream, guys, it's not great here. We go to Peyton Watson, maybe. In Denver, you could try. Look, if Murray is out, obviously it opens up a lot of stuff. And Westbrook's just a clear roster guy anyway. And then on the Sun side of things, Mason Plumlee, we saw him get solid enough minutes last game with Nurkic in some foul trouble. And the Nurkic roulette wheel is impossible to sort of guess. So you could look at Plumlee, you could look at Morris, you could look at Kogi. The guy you'd love to look at is Royce O'Neal, but I'm just not sure that he's going to play. Otherwise, he is the clear answer there as the stream guy on that side of the ledger. We'll come back with some schedule stuff and some streams of the day as well. But today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. You know that the NFL playoffs are almost here, but it's not too late to get in on the regular season action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can finish the season strong with $250 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. So many ways for you to pick up a W. You can bet on individual players scoring a touchdown, each team's individual points total for the game. You can do, of course, the standard spreads and the money lines and the game totals, plus other sort of props and receiving yards and passing touchdowns and all that sort of stuff is available over on FanDuel. And when you're there to place your first bet and you win your first $5 bet, they'll give you $250 in bonus bets into your account. So make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL, and don't forget to gamble responsibly. Okay. Let's talk about some schedule stuff here for the upcoming days across the league. Nothing back-to-back Wednesday to Thursday. I think we all know they don't do that on Christmas Day. But what we can look at is finally get back into a little bit of chunky action. And the rest of this week, Wednesday through Sunday, there are, I think, 15 or 16 teams that play 3 games, which is great. And all of those days are streamable. The best available players, I think, here we're talking about are Dylan Brooks, Andrew Nembhard, Wendell Carter Jr., yes, I know, he's not exciting, but 3 games is an advantage. Julian Champagny, Luguentz Dort, although that's always risky, and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. So you notice there's some guys there who I don't love. Brooks, Dort, Carter, Caldwell-Pope, even Nembhard. But volume, consistency of role all those guys have as well across that time makes them a usable stream. 1 ad, 3 games, some level of consistency is pretty useful over the next 5 days. If we take a look at the 5s and 2s, we're always looking at 7-day splits here. There is one team over the next 7 days that plays 2 games, and that's your Detroit Pistons. So, the value of Malik Beasley has been sky high, but only 2 games. You've got your Jalen Durans or Paul Reeds or, God forbid, it's Asar Thompson, or even you're holding Jaden Ivey, who's been really solid the last 2 games, but 2 games over the next 7 days. Is it worth it? Maybe not for a lot of those players. Just to get extra games in for fringe players who those guys might be, it might be worthwhile considering moving off. I wouldn't move off Tobias Harris, but we are getting close to that, to be honest. We're not quite there yet in my mind. Let's go to the streaming options now, the daily streams, the stream of the day. And it gets pretty dark pretty early here on this list. The 10-team stream of the day, using a 65% roster cutoff on Basketball Monster, Trayce Jackson-Davis. Now, I don't know. The matchup might actually be really bad for him against Anthony Davis, and he plays 18 minutes, and Steve Kerr foreseeable futures the lineup, and we don't see him really do much at all. But the last 2 games have been very good. And I like taking a chance on someone like Jackson Davis. For your 12-teamer, this is where we get really iffy. I'm using 45% or below rostered on Basketball Monster, and the guy that fits that mark is Charles Bassey, but he played 7 minutes last game. He could play 10, he could play 13, he could have a 6 and 7 game with 2 blocks in that time. It's pretty iffy. Max Christie goes to your 14-team leaguer. You love the minutes. You hope you get a little bit more out of him. And then Caleb Martin's available in lots of spots. He might see more. We know he's been very, very iffy in terms of his production and injury stuff, but he's there as well. And for both points league formats, Yahoo and ESPN, this guy's available in over 60% of Yahoo leagues. It's Julian Champagny. Old Bubbles, his role might decline a little bit. It might be down somewhat, but in terms of stream value, it's still there and it's still pretty much cooking along. Your 10-team list, and this is where I think, again, we're using the 65% roster cutoff on Basketball Monster to determine who fits on this list, but you might be in a 12 or even a 14 and some of these names come up. So Trace Jackson-Davis is there. Mike Conley's been dropped enough to be considered streamable. Al Horford, Julian Champagny, Charlie Bassey, and Brandon Podziemski look like they could work in that spot. For 12-teamers, we use that 45% number. Max Christie is there. Caleb Martin, Precious Achiuwa, Gershon Yabusele, Najee Marshall, and Juice McBride. And then for deeper leagues, 20% and below, we are going to the Cockroach Mason Plumlee, Monte Morris, Kevon Looney, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Slemon Sammy Hauser, and Peyton Watson. Penultimately, we go to the Yahoo point streamers, all 40% or below on Yahoo. Julian Champagny, Jaden McDaniels, Caleb Martin, Al Horford, Max Christie, and Gershon Yabusele, who probably gets somewhat of a bump with KJ Martin out, but it's going to be a larger bump if Drummond remains out as well. And lastly, ESPN points leagues. We look at Julian Champagny, Jaden McDaniels, Al Horford, Monty Morris, Max Christie, and Caleb Martin. And that is a Christmas Day preview. Remember, very, very early start in the NBA. So get your lineups ready, get your waiver wire moves done. And if you are here in Australia with me, or it's anywhere down in the in this part of the time zone area, enjoy your Christmas Day today. Otherwise, enjoy your Christmas Eve in the US and have a very good Christmas Day over there when that ticks over as well. And remember, you can give me a Christmas present by just focusing on something good. Understand that you have done a good thing, whether it is through the Christmas period or other points during the year. And there'll be a lot of stresses through this time of year as well. Just remember that, not everything is bad. There are good things. And if you focus on them, you're able to highlight those things and work on them. Improve, but know that there is good things out there. Guys, we are done here. Merry Christmas. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.